So you don't like the new 2022 Toyota Tundra. What are your options? Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Rob Motive FST. So you don't like the brand new, redesigned 2022 Toyota Tundra. So what are your options? You know, I get a lot of comments on the channel about people that have gone to look at it, they're in the market, maybe they're just curious, they're going to be in the market down the road, but they don't like the 2022 Toyota Tundra. So what are you going to do? You know, there are other models out there. You could go with a used version. I mean, that's perfectly acceptable. There's a lot of good used Tundras out there. You can still get the previous generation. Now, I don't know that you'd necessarily want to get one right now because you're probably going to pay a amped up price for it, right? I mean, the used car market, used truck market is on fire. So you don't want to go out and overpay by $4,000, $5,000, $10,000 for a used truck. At least I wouldn't. So maybe that's not an option. Maybe you're looking for something else. Now, you might run into the market adjustment problem with other trucks as well. You know, about 2 months or so ago, I went out and I test drove a Chevy Silverado. I had a moment of weakness there before I bought this truck. So actually, it's probably more than a couple of months ago. But I was looking for a full-size truck. I wanted to put a full-size truck on the Rob Motive FST channel, which stands for full-size truck. So I went out and I test drove the Chevy Silverado. And while I was on the drive, the salesman told me that there was a $10,000 market adjustment on the truck. So right off the bat, it's already a no for me. I'm not spending an extra 10 grand for the privilege of buying a Chevy Silverado. But beyond that, I just didn't like it. It had the column shifter. It felt weak inside. Now that's funny coming from someone who's driving what most would say is an outdated Tundra, but it felt less up to date on the interior than my truck does. I don't know why. Maybe deep down I'm just a Tundra fanboy. So I didn't like the truck. I thought forget about it. So that's one option, the Chevy Silverado. Next up is the Nissan Titan. Now I don't have a lot to say about the Titan. Honestly, I've never owned one, but I just don't like it. I don't know what it is I don't like about it. I'm sure it's a fine truck for those that do like it, but it's just not my thing. I just don't dig the truck. And for me, I have to like it before I'm even interested in stepping inside, right? So it's not my thing, not even a consideration for me, but they're out there. Could be a viable option if you're interested in one. I don't know if they're charging the market adjustments on those or not, but really just not my thing. So let's move on. Let's move on to the Big Daddy, the #1 selling truck in the world, I believe, at least in the US. Of course, I'm talking about the Ford F-150. You know, I've had F-150s. I was disappointed by the F-150s. Both of them had the same weird transmission glitch. And I'm now terming that as a transmission glitch because I had them back to back and they both did the same thing. And that was when I would shift from reverse to drive, there was a pause, a hesitation, like it was thinking about going to drive, but it wasn't quite sure. And then when it finally did, I got a little bit of a lurch. I didn't like that. It did not feel right to me. The reliability of the F-150. You know, you hear about a lot of problems out there with them, and maybe it's because they just build so many. I mean, obviously, the more you build of something, unfortunately, and I'm not saying this justifies it, but the more you build of something, the more chances you are that some of them are going to have problems. I mean, they are assembled by people, by humans, right? So eventually, the parts, the pieces, whatever, something's going to have an issue. So maybe it's not fair to dog the F-150 so much because they build so many. Again, I'm not justifying it by saying that, but it is a fact of life, right? The EcoBoost, you know, 6-cylinder truck. And maybe that was part of my problem with the Tundra before I mentioned. You know, it just doesn't sit well. A truck, a full-size truck, should be an 8-cylinder. Now, I know the 8s are dying. I know we're not going to have much choice for too much longer. My final option is going to be one that we still do in addition to the F-150, but man, it just doesn't feel right to me. There's been a lot of people that have complained about the EcoBoost, talking about coated cylinder walls and, you know, all kinds of stuff, the twin turbo problems. It's a gamble, I think. Hopefully you get one that was built on a good day with good parts, and you don't have to spend all that time in the shop. The final one that I'm going to mention, and honestly, what I would probably get if I didn't have a Tundra, is the Ram. Now, I know a lot of you are going to say, wait a minute, you're just talking about the F-150 and quality problems, and you'd take a Ram? I know. Believe me, I know. It's an inner struggle with myself. Ram is probably a little bit lower than the F-150 is when it comes to reported reliability, but I do love the Ram aesthetically. I like the options on it. It's got the capability. There are plenty of mods and things you can do with it to make it look even better. So I suppose if I was going to go with something other than the Tundra, it would be the Ram, the 1500 version. And you can still get a V8, by the way. You may have to special order it. I'm not sure that they're shipping a ton of them out, which, by the way, I've heard rumor recently that they're going to discontinue the V8 Hemi, that it's going to be gone. So you may not be able to get a V8 for too much longer. I'd probably give it maybe another year. Doesn't mean they're not going to sell it as some sort of a special edition, but you're probably going to pay a heck of a lot more money for it. Now, there is one other thing to consider, I think, when you're looking at these other models when it comes to reliability, and that is warranty. And this really comes down to how long do you think you're going to keep the truck? I mean, they come with a 3-year warranty. Granted, you don't want to spend all your time sitting in the shop. I understand. I don't. Although it does give me a chance to go walk the lots when there used to be cars and trucks on the lots and look at the other models and stuff out there. But you don't want to do that. But you do have that luxury, I guess we'll call it a luxury, it's kind of a given, of having the 3-year warranty to take care of any problems. And hopefully, by the end of that 3-year warranty, anything that would have been wrong is worked out. I think that's the whole idea behind having the warranty anyway. And if not, you can dump it. Now, if you dump it, depending on what kind of market we're in, unlike now, obviously you're going to lose a little bit of money, but you did drive it during that period too. So it's kind of a wash or a wash in my opinion. Anyway, I just wanted to get on here. I'm getting a lot of comments on the channel about people not liking the Tundra, the 2022 Tundra. And I'm just curious as to what you folks out there are considering in lieu of the 2022 Tundra. Leave a comment. Let me know. I'd be curious. Also, real quick, I do have 2 additional channels. Rob Motive, all about my 2021 Toyota Tacoma. And Rob Motive JT, all about my 2020 Jeep Gladiator. Check them out, and if you're interested, please consider subscribing. Don't forget to click that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any upcoming videos. And do me a favor, smash that subscribe button on the way out. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.